City.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Big Apple Greeter pioneered an access program around 20 years ago, I think. So that allows disabled travellers from the UK or other countries to meet or to speak to locals who might be in the same situation as them, and then they can get first-hand tips and advice from them. So if they're concerned about getting the right information and, is this museum really going to be suitable for me? Will I be able to access it? They can speak to someone on the ground who can give them loads of really good tips and advice on their own experiences in New York. And then some other services that you can find listed on our website include companies which will rent out disability scooters or wheelchairs, so that if it's an issue travelling with yours or bringing it on the plane, and perhaps you just want to rent one for a couple of days while you're in New York City, there are companies that allow you to do that as well.
That guidance scheme sounds a really good idea.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. It just makes it a lot more convenient for travellers. And equally, it's not people just with disabilities or accessibility issues. We're also looking at families with pushchairs or prams. It is a family-friendly city, and we want to encourage families with children of all ages, but people carrying buggies and pushchairs are going to face the same issues. So it's accessible to everybody.
How about Times Square on New Year's Eve? There's going to be 1 million people there. How easy is it if you've got accessibility issues?
It will be very busy in Times Square, and everyone will be advised, therefore, to arrive early. You'd really be advised to arrive sort of mid-afternoon to get a good viewing point. There will be a specific section cordoned off for wheelchair users. Mm-hmm. However, this hasn't yet been announced where it'll be. So the best thing to do is to have a look at the Times Square Alliance website, where they will be listing details a little bit closer to the time.
Okay. So at least they'll be able to get in.
Yes.
Away from all the crush.
But it's worth looking at the website in advance. It's quite a large area, and you just would want to know in advance which subway station or which part of Times Square to approach, so that you're in the most appropriate area and don't have to battle your way through hundreds of thousands of people.
You've already mentioned there's a wide range of accommodation from hostels to luxury hotels, but I've read that there may be a problem with local laws if somebody rents out a room or apartment using a website such as Airbnb. Is there a problem, and would you recommend that visitors keep away from such a private arrangement?
That is correct. New York State brought in a new law in 2011 which makes it illegal to rent out most apartments for less than 30 days. So that does include rentals in New York City, and it therefore does affect a lot of properties being offered on those kind of websites. Mm-hmm. So the point we want to make is that these sites are completely legitimate and reputable in other parts of the United States and operate completely legally in other parts of the world. But we do want travellers to be aware that just because they are trusted sites, it doesn't guarantee that the properties listed for New York City are exempt from the law. In a lot of cases, they don't comply with this new law, so we'd always advise travellers to book hotels and other forms of budget accommodation rather than apartments. Mm-hmm. There are a few exceptions to the rule. For instance, if the owner is in residence, or if you're renting an entire property, a whole house, rather than an apartment in an apartment block, or if you're negotiating a house swap, so no money changes hands. So there are opportunities for staying in private residences, but in most cases, the apartment rentals for less than 30 days are illegal. So travellers would be best advised to avoid them because there's no protection in terms of their money, and also there's no way of policing how safe and sanitary these properties are.
Okay.
Checking it out before you check in on the John Guinn Travel Show on ukhealthradio.com. We're talking New York City on the John Guinn Travel Show, and what is a trip to New York without shopping? But there are some hidden extras, and that's going to find out what there is to know about shopping tax.
What about when you go shopping? I believe that the prices that are displayed are not necessarily the prices you're going to be paying because there's taxes. What's the average amount of tax on a purchase, and can a UK visitor claim any of it back as duty-free?
Yeah, this is another source of confusion, and I find it quite confusing myself when I go shopping in New York, and sometimes you end up paying more than the advertised price. Sometimes you will pay the advertised price, and it's a bit confusing knowing which items have tax added and which ones don't. The best rule that I live by myself is to assume that 10% will be added at the till, and only buy the item if you're happy with that amount. I think the actual sales tax is just under 9%, so it would actually be less than 10%. And you won't be obliged to pay it on every item. There are certain exceptions. For instance, food and beverage purchased at a grocery store is exempt from the tax, but food and beverage in a restaurant or in a cafe or a deli will have the tax added. But it's always best to assume that you will be paying a little bit more than is advertised on the price label. It's also worth knowing, though, that big stores like Macy's do give international visitors a 10% discount. So, in effect, they're reimbursing the sales tax for you. There's not a simple way of claiming back the tax on your purchases through duty-free at the airport or anything like that, which you might be able to do in other countries. But if you go and ask in places like Macy's, and I believe Bloomingdale's might also do it, you can tell them you're an international visitor and show your passport, and they will give you a voucher that will give you 10% off your purchases. So that's a really good tip to know about.
Yeah, I didn't know about that one. That one store. Yeah. Where is the best part of New York City to go shopping?
It really depends what you're after. Places like Madison Avenue and Fifth Avenue are well known for their luxury brands, although Fifth Avenue is also now has a lot more high street sort of brands on there as well. Times Square, if you want to do late night shopping, the shops around Times Square are open till 11 p.m. or midnight a lot of the time, so that's a really good place to go and buy your souvenirs and high street clothing. The area around Macy's, so sort of Herald Square, 34th Street, is very good for high street brands. So you find your H&M, your Victoria's Secret, Gap, American Eagle, Old Navy, those kind of stores around there. However, if you're looking for something a bit more unique, we would recommend you head to somewhere like Soho or to Brooklyn for sort of one-off boutiques and galleries, sort of not part of the chain stores.
So plenty of options then when you want to spend your cash.
Definitely. You need to take an empty suitcase with you when you travel to New York.
Okay.
Or buy one when you're there.
Yeah.
You can keep up to date with travel news and leave me a message at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. We're coming to the conclusion of my chat I had with Kate from the London office of the New York City Tourist Board. We're now going to find out what it's like for a family. How long should a family go? I mean, New York's not just a couple's destination, it's a family one too. But how long should you spend when you get there?
You've already said about what people should do and experience when they're in New York, but if a family was to visit, what's the minimum amount of time you would recommend for them to stay?
You can really never run out of things to do in New York City. Even if you stayed there for a month, you'd be finding new places to explore and new things to do. With a family, obviously you might be a little bit more restricted on timings, depending on how young the children are. You might need to get them to bed earlier. So I would sort of factor in probably a minimum of 4 days to fit in a number of their favourite sites and to just give everyone the best opportunity to enjoy their trip. So some of the key places that we find are the most popular with children include the American Museum of Natural History, which they seem to know very well from the film The Night at the Museum, which is set there. The Bronx Zoo is one of the biggest urban zoos in the United States, and obviously Central Park Zoo as well. Statue of Liberty is always popular, taking a boat out there to Statue of Liberty and Ellis Island Immigration Museum. Central Park's a great place to go and to wander around and enjoy and have a picnic. There are some great shows for kids on Broadway at the moment, so shows like The Lion King, Newsies, which is based on the Disney film. Matilda has come over from London and is going down really, really well in New York with the critics and with audiences. At the moment, you've got Spider-Man playing, which will be closing in 2014, but it will be soon replaced by a new production of Disney's Aladdin, so that's going to be another really popular option for families. And there are obviously matinee performances as well as evening performances, so there's an option there for kids if you want to get them to bed earlier. And then in the summer, take them down to Coney Island, go to the beach, have some fun on the fun fair, and enjoy a different side to the city that is less known. We actually have a family ambassador as well, so every year NYC and Company, the tourist office, employs the services of a popular children's character. So this year it's Where's Wally? And he's on our website giving tips on the best places for families to enjoy. his advice on tours, where to eat, and different ways for families to enjoy the city, and that's updated every season with season-specific events. So if you look for Where's Wally on our website, you'll come across that site.
Okay. So plenty to do for a family, but what if you're going away to be romantic? Where's the best place for a Valentine's Day break?
I think everywhere is exciting in New York City, whether you're there alone or with a partner or with a family. Valentine's Day, I think one of the classic things that couples enjoy doing is going to the top of the Empire State Building, just because it's such a big thing in films like Sleepless in Seattle, and I think everyone enjoys recreating those movie moments. But also there's some fantastic hotels, obviously boutique-style hotels, luxury hotels, where you can really sort of spoil yourself and splurge a little bit if you're looking for a romantic getaway. Rooftop bars for a cocktail are pretty popular. Also taking a stroll along the High Line, the new park, or through Central Park is something that couples would enjoy. Obviously going to see a Broadway show or going to the opera or a ballet or a concert is going to be another a popular date night. And also something that maybe less people know about, which I think is a popular option for a Valentine's break, would be going for a dining cruise out on the Hudson River, where you can enjoy New York City by night, looking at the skyline, but having a fantastic meal while you do so.
I hope all the men listening were making notes there, because we're always hopeless at arranging that sort of thing. There's plenty of ideas.
Plenty of tips we can give you.
You've already mentioned your website a few times, but how can we find out more about New York?
So yes, the website is nycgo.com, and that has tons of information on what to see and do all throughout the year. So it has editorial features, giving you ideas for themed itineraries, as well as listings for events, hotels, restaurants, theatre shows, everything like that. We've also recently added to that a lot of new neighbourhood guides, which recommend the best things to explore in boroughs such as Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx and Staten Island. So it's for people who are looking to do something beyond Manhattan, perhaps people who've been to Manhattan several times and want to try something new next time they go to New York. So that gives you lots of tips on that. We also have, we're also on Twitter and we're also on Facebook. And on Facebook we have a UK Facebook page for New York City, which recommends particularly things that Brits might enjoy doing. And that's kind of targeted more to people who might be planning their trips 2 or 3 months in advance, rather than something that's happening in New York tonight, which you would miss. It's kind of thinking, planning ahead and encouraging people to travel in a few months' time.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
That's all right. Thank you very much.
Well, that's the end of my first I'm taking a break July shows for the travel show on UK Health Radio. I hope you found the information on the Atol useful and maybe been inspired to visit New York. Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show is the place to go for up-to-date travel news. I will still be posting there. The websites for today's show will also be posted there too. And it's the place to go if you have any questions you'd like to see answered about travel, or if there's a destination or a travel topic you'd like to see covered, then just send me a message. Facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. And I hope you can join me next week for another best of. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I want you to make sure you come and have a listen. And I hope you join me then. And as always, this is a John Guinn Travel Show where I check out before you check in.